Welcome to today's episode, everyone. We got a really exciting episode for our viewers out there, and we've been dragging on this video for a while because it's taken us some time to do some research. But ultimately, what we wanted to do is we wanted to challenge ourselves.
That's right.
To see if we could actually pick up a Dolby Atmos setup for under $1,000. All right, Ralph, let's get into the criteria of what challenge we made for ourselves into creating this Dolby Atmos system. So rule number one, they needed to be brand new products, right? And the reason why we decided to choose brand new is because when we're actually mentioning these products, we want to make sure that you can actually go and buy them. So we didn't want to go the used route. We don't want to go the thrift store route. We felt like that was kind of cheating doing that way, because you can obviously grab probably a very good, if you're lucky, Dolby Atmos receiver and some speakers, and you can probably get them for under $200, $300, right?
That's true, yeah.
That's not what we're going for. We wanted to go with brand new products. Rule number two, no all-in-one box systems. The reason why we don't want to go that route is because it makes upgrading later way more challenging. You'd have to sell the entire system, which you probably would get a fraction of what you paid for. And then it just makes it very difficult. Rule number three, no soundbar systems.
No soundbars.
Okay, it's got to be a legit home theater system. I know we're going to catch some flack from some people that follow us on the Sonos side. Please don't shoot the messenger here. I still have my system, but that's not what we wanted to go with. Rule number four, got to be good reviews. So for buying products, whether they're online or at a big box store, they have to have good reviews, because we don't want to get products because they fit our budget that are not good. So we want to make sure that they're actually good products that most people out there that purchase them actually have a good experience with. The next rule, Ralph, and it's pretty obvious, it's got to support Dolby Atmos. So it can't be cheating, can't be doing, you know,
virtual surround sound.
Virtual surround sound, perfect explanation. It's got to be actual Dolby Atmos. So that's the other criteria. And then finally, it has to be under $1,000. You know, this is a disclaimer. We are not being sponsored by any of these products mentioned. They did not provide us any of these products. I don't even know that we're doing this video. This is what we found, and we purchased them with our own money, and we wanted to see if we were capable of doing it. And actually, they need to sound good too. I know that's one thing I left out. Well, all right, Ralph. Well, let's go ahead and let's get into the product overview. We're going to talk about the products that we chose. Ralph is actually going to go around the room here, and he's going to talk about each component of this Dolby Atmos setup. And we'll do it as quickly as possible because we want to make sure that you don't get bored and fall asleep. Before we get into it, I do want to do a quick plug. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe and like the video, and you can hit that notification button. If you decide you don't want to subscribe, that's okay. As long as you like the video, that really goes to help us out. But all right, Ralph, let's go ahead and do the product overview.
Let's do this. Well, how you guys doing? So just talking about these speakers right here. This is the Mica RB42XC B2s. These are the second generation from a previous gen. And what you're looking at here is you got dual 4-inch mid-range drivers for mid-bass, and then you got your 17 millimeter tweeter. The reason why I went with these, even though they're a center channel speaker, because I wanted the front stage to be a little bit more dynamic and has more mid-range tones than a bookshelf. This is what we went for, the LCR, so your right channel, your center channel, and then your left front speakers. Let's move on to the next series of speakers. All right, well, this is the second phase of the surround sound system. These are the Mica RB42Bs Gen 2s, and what's really nice about these is that, yeah, like I said, you have your 4-inch driver and then your 17 millimeter tweeter, which is actually really good. Here's your rear speakers. You have a driver port over here, and then here's your hookups. These actually are good for 80 watts per channel. 4 ohms to 8 ohms. We recommend 8 ohms is better because it helps you drive the system a lot sooner. And also, you don't get a lot of distortion at 8 ohms, and you don't need a lot of power either. Now let's move on to the subwoofer. All right, now we're getting to another segment, the subwoofer, right? The Rockville Rock Shaker 6.5-inch subwoofer. Comes with a 6.5-inch driver. I can't remove this out of the way because it's just, that's the way it is, just tied in there. Now this thing is 100 watts per channel. Now on the back of it, as you can see, it has a driver port. These are for like your high level inputs and all that stuff. That's where you want to hook up your speakers into. You know, you have your volume control here. You have your frequency control goes down to 50 hertz and all the way to 160. And next, we're going to talk about the Atmos speaker. Well, this is the last speakers of the whole system, the Atmos speaker. This is the Kovo from Mica. As you can see, it's a single speaker, but it's a coaxial speaker. Inside of here is your tweeter. and then your cone on the outside is going to act like your mid-range. Now, one thing that's special about this speaker, a hookup right here that you can actually plug it into the ceiling or whatever you have, as long as you have a hookup there. And for what it does, it's pretty good. And now we're going to go to the main part of the whole system, is the receiver. All right, well, this is the last part of our Dolby Atmos system, right? Now, this is the meat of everything. This is the Denon 1700H. As you can see, the face of this, it's really cool. You have your volume control over here. You have your source input, output over here. Now, this does do 7.1, as I mentioned before, but it also can go beyond that to 5.1.2, which is your Atmos track. So I'll show you right now what that does, is that behind here, you have your 7 components. Now, what's really cool about this receiver is that you hook up your Dolby Atmos to these surround backs, and you can actually tell the receiver to convert them over to Dolby Atmos for your front height channels. And there you go. That's it. Now let's go back to the video.
Well, that was a pretty awesome product overview, Ralph. That was a great explanation of each component that went into this Dolby Atmos setup.
That's right.
But let's go ahead and tell our viewers why. I think the biggest question is, you know, the micas, right? And hopefully we're pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah.
And if not, please comment below if we're not saying it right. But we're going to stick with mica for now. So this is something that you found. So why don't we go ahead, you tell the viewers like why you decided to go with these ones specifically.
Well, here's the reason why. The reason why I went for these is actually it had the most product review. And another thing too is actually people were craving on the sound quality. And they're really good neutral tonality to them. Obviously, they're kind of small, so they don't have a lot of bass to them. But honestly, these speakers timbre match really well with some high-end speakers. Other thing too is that honestly, really, really cost effective. And these sound pretty good. And you can actually get the frequencies corrected in the Odyssey or whatever you're using for your room correction. So I'm kind of glad that I actually chose these micas. Now, you got some other companies out there. You got OSD, you have RSL. I mean, RSL is a little bit more expensive, obviously, but I wanted to get something that was really, really good for tonality, and it has really good frequency response, and it has pretty good overall speaker deposition and all that stuff.
Yeah, Ralph, and you know, actually put you on the goose chase to find some good quality speakers. And you called me up and you said, hey, I found these micas. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know that brand at all. You said, oh, I did some research on these. You know, I found some of the audio blogs and whatnot, and people were talking about how nice they sound. You went on the Amazon reviews, but for the most part, I mean, a lot of people seem like they know what they're talking about. So after you mentioned them, I was like, yeah, let's give them a shot, man. Let's give them a fair shot. They actually look great. We're very familiar with those Silk Dome tweeters. We've done a lot of reviews on some higher end brands.
That's right.
That use the same type of tweeter. So that's kind of what I would say got me to feel a little bit more comfortable, those as opposed to more of a more known name brand that's out there, right? Which we were looking really hard, right? But they were right around 2 or 3 times more expensive. That was putting us way over budget. So glad we found these. They did sound great. All right, Ralph, that's great about the micas. So now let's talk about the subwoofer. That was another surprising one that you picked.
But no, honestly, this thing, you put it in the corner and you set it right. Yeah, you're not going to feel it, but you're going to hear it. And this little rock shaker here does a really decent job.
Yeah, I would say so too. I mean, it's definitely very small form factor, but yeah, it surprisingly does do a good job with giving you enough bass output to where it enhances the experience when you're watching movies.
That's right.
When you're watching or when you're listening to music too, it helps with that as well. All right, Ralph, finally, the last component of the system is the AVR, the brains of everything, the receiver. Now, this is a brand that a lot of people are very familiar with.
Very familiar.
We're very familiar with them. Denon. Why do we choose this receiver over others?
The reason why I chose the Denon, again, bro, was because I'm really familiar with Denon. I use the controls on Denon. It's just like my Marantz, same exact thing. Odyssey, when you hook it up, it just, you place it, you let it set up, and it just take it from there. I mean, you can go in there and you can individualize your own speakers and stuff like that, and customize your everything, you know, right on the fly, which is really cool. It's Dolby Atmos enabled. There's other brands like an Onkyo that you can choose. You got more expensive Marantz. You have a Sony that's more expensive. You have a Yamaha that's even more expensive. We're right just around the same price. But for what you're getting out of this Dolby Atmos system, I think it's damn well perfect for what you need, you know, to start out with as a good system.
Yeah, that's right, Ralph. And, you know, there was a lot of other brands that we're considering. Onkyo right? They make a receiver, a Dolby Atmos one that was under $400. The problem was it was sold out everywhere.
Yes.
And I think it's still sold out. So again, we didn't want to recommend any products that you cannot buy during the making of this video or shortly thereafter.
Yes.
So it must be something that is still around the same price and it must be still available. Otherwise, you're walking into used or secondhand territory, and that's not what was part of our criteria.
That's right.
The Denon really caught us by surprise. When you said, hey, I found this Denon AVR, it was under this much money, I was like, nah, are you sure? And you're like, yes, no, that's just how much it is. And I was like, are you sure it's Atmos? You're like, yes, it's Atmos.
It's Atmos.
It's like, buy it.
Buy it.
So that's why we went with this one. And yeah, it's a great receiver. You can't go wrong with Denon as a brand. They're tried and true, like any of the other ones that we named out there. All right, Ralph. Well, let's get into the price. Show our viewers if we did it or not.
That's right.
So let's go ahead and just do a round robin for the Denon receiver. How much did we spend on that one?
We spent less than $500 on it. It was on sale for $493 with tax. The micas, the LCR. There were $90 per speaker. The bookshelves, we paid $120 for the pair. And then the Kovo 2S, those were $60 for 2 speakers. And then lastly, the subwoofer, $99. So all in all, it came out to roughly a little bit more than $1,000, but that's, if you take away the tax, it actually was less than that. So overall, we spent $1,053. So there you go. There's your ultimate Dolby Atmos system for under $1,000.
Sorry for the interruption. But just a quick note that speaker mounts and wire aren't included in this build, so plan on adding about $150 to your total cost. Now back to the video.
All right, Ralph, well, let's get into some final thoughts and let's talk about our overall experience. So start with you. Why don't you go ahead and go first?
Absolutely. Final thoughts, awesome system for under $1,000. You can't beat the speakers, the LCRs that we chose. The bookshelves sounded really good. They blended really well with all the surround sounds. And then those little Kovos, you know, those small little tiny bookshelf speakers that we got sounded great. And let's not leave out the subwoofer. That little subwoofer did its purpose. You know, you didn't feel it in the chest, but you heard it. And that's what the experience was all about. For some people that are looking for really high-end stuff, I mean, this is not going to be for you, but people that are starting out and then maybe I'll upgrade later on or something like that. With my overall experience with this, I'm going to give this a double thumbs because it's actually pretty good for under $1,000. And then, bro, honestly, what is your overall thoughts on these?
Yeah, Ralph, those are pretty good points. Now, I would say like on our channel specifically, we've done a lot of reviews on different products before, right? And a lot of those products, I would say for maybe a lot of viewers, it could be out of their price range. You know, we've done $2,000 speakers, $5,000, even more than that, right?
Yeah.
And when you add all that up in a Dolby Atmos speaker or system, I mean, you're spending upwards of like, you know, the $10,000 range.
Yeah, 10,000. Yeah.
Not a lot of people can spend that kind of money. So I think what we wanted to prove was that you don't have to break the bank to start out. Over the years, you just learn to swap components in and out. Even the speakers that were recommended, like the micas are great, but you know, I can definitely see people as they're saving more money or they want to spend more money on the speakers, they're going to upgrade from those into some of the other products that we've done reviews for. The receiver, though, holds up pretty good.
Yes.
I mean, that kind of receiver you can hold on for a long time. Like your receiver, out of all of the different speakers that you went in and out of, you've held on to that speaker, the receiver the longest.
Yes, I have.
Right? You've added amps to it for more power, which you could always do, but the receiver is always something that stuck with you. And I think a lot of our viewers, for a lot of you out there, that probably the same thing. You probably had the same receiver, but you've swapped your speakers in and out. So I guess what we wanted to do on this video was that you could start with all fresh components, brand new, and you can still get a very high quality Dolby Atmos home theater system and just sometimes taking a risk on a brand that you've never heard of before. Well, you know what, Ralph? I think that concludes our video.
Absolutely, bro. So make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification button.
And as always,
keep it hi-fi.